RWBY Volume 7, Chapter 8 review. Let's do it. So, as I'm watching the chapter, I'm writing down some ideas, some thoughts to go over. Very, very rambly, rough review. Let's go. So, apparently, Klein is no longer employed by Jacques Schnee, which completely destroys the headcanon I had that made sense of something that makes absolutely no sense. And what is that? What is that? Let's think. I'm going to see if you guys can get this one. There's something about Jacques' manner that makes absolutely no sense. And I'm going to throw some hints. Let's play a game, okay? So you have a very wealthy man in a manor that has a lot of wealthy items, right? And your family's living there. And on top of that, Jacques Schnee and the Schnee family isn't exactly the most well-liked family in Remnant. And that's putting it nicely because they might be one of the most, if not the most disliked family in all of Remnant. So you have all that going on. So what's missing from Jacques' manor? What do you think is missing? Maybe a little bit of security. A little bit of security might be a good idea. Not even for, the Grimm, which is a thing in their world, and he might want to have security for that. But more importantly, even than the Grimm, the fact that this is a very wealthy family with a lot of wealthy things, and they are not liked. A lot of people hate them. But no guards? Yes, Mantle's down below, but, there are ways of stealing property. We've seen certain people in Mantle are not against trying to steal military property. Hypothetically, you could have the military down in Mantle. You have a big rebellion, and Mantle citizens take the ship and fly up to Atlas, and maybe they get stopped, maybe they don't. But would Jacques want to take that risk when he has all this money? All he has to do is hire a little security. This place is empty, though. So my headcanon, to make sense of this thing that makes absolutely no sense, my headcanon was, Klein has multiple personalities. What if, hypothetically, Jacques would rely on Klein? What if Jacques would just rely on Klein? And I see that was shining in your guys' eyes. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully it's better now. If Klein had a personality where he could, have a fighter bodyguard personality, and he was exceptionally, actually a really good fighter, it would kind of make sense. Even then, I think you should probably not rely on one person for a full manor with your family there and everything. But hey, at least there would be something there. But apparently, Klein has been let go. So who's defending the manor? Apparently nobody. And this makes even less sense when there was just a party that got massacred. You think then you might want to step up security for your party, but you don't. I mean, listen, he didn't step it up. Some people might be thinking, Ironwood was there and the Aesops were there. That's not Jacques stepping up his security, though. That's just them being there. Jacques should step his security up. But you know what? We've ranted about this topic for 3 minutes. Let's move on. Personally, for me, I think the little luck jokes between Crow and Clover are getting old. We're halfway through the season. I get it. You like to make little jokes about one having bad luck, one having good luck, but, we don't need that every time they have a scene. Now, there was some good about this chapter. I thought it was fun, at least. Some people thought it was boring. I actually enjoyed this chapter. I didn't think it was boring. I did think it was entertaining. But there are some things that just don't make sense to me, and that's one of them. The guard thing does not make sense to me for all the reasons I already outlined, and everything associated with that does not make sense to me at all. And on that topic, doesn't Robin have a semblance that lets her find the truth when someone, if she's asking someone a question and she touches them? This is what it looks like her semblance does from the scene with her and Blake and Yang. Specifically her and Blake, though, because that's who she used it on. It looks like Robin can make physical contact with somebody, and her aura or her semblance will change color depending on if they're telling the truth or not. So you would think that after Robin had multiple of her people massacred or severely injured, that she might want to figure out if Penny's lying or not. Why would you wait for a result from the military that you clearly don't trust much if you're willing to rob them or attempt to rob them and blockade them? And you're going to wait for their report when you could literally just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna use my semblance on Penny. Let's find out right now. But she doesn't seem to care. It's the weirdest thing. How do you have a party where your people get massacred, allegedly by this person/robot, and you have a semblance that can find the truth, and you just don't do anything about it? That also makes no sense to me, man. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense, and that's a few of them. But, there was some good. As I mentioned, I thought the chapter was still entertaining. The scene with the food being flung in the air and landing on the noble lady and Whitley, that was fun. That was funny. I like seeing that. I really don't like Whitley. I don't know if I want to talk about that yet, though. I guess we can. So I know there's some people who like think Whitley is innocent and stuff like that, but personally not me. Because, let's see, Weiss and Winter left home to become huntresses. Now, they have this like pity party for Whitley where it's like he was abandoned, but you know, he doesn't have to stay there. Whitley could become a huntsman, and not only could he do that, but he has some of the best connections possible to do that with Winter, who is special operative, right? You have the Ace Ops, and then I think Winter was special ops. That's like volume 3, though. Memory's a little rough. I think special operative, yeah, because then Crow was like, it's even in the name, or whatever he said. Anyways, so, you know, Winter should be able to easily get Whitley started as becoming a huntsman and going to an academy and learning and that sort of thing if he wanted to. The choice is his. He chose not to do that. Now, it seems like since Willow, I think that's her name, right? Mama Schnee, Willow Schnee, I think. Mama Schnee being in the show now does make this a bit interesting because they might flip the script. And I'm gonna say this is a potential flip of the script, and that is going to be potentially they might say, you know, Whitley didn't leave home because he didn't want to leave the mother alone with Jacques. But as it stands now, absolutely nothing backs that up. We have seen Whitley since volume 4. It's been 3 volumes since then. And nothing so far has indicated that Whitley cares at all for his mother. As a matter of fact, we have more indications that he doesn't care because he seems to side and pander to Jacques once, and we've never seen him have a scene with his mother. So the reasonable assumption right now is that Whitley doesn't give a rat's you-know-what about his mother. But hypothetically, Rooster Teeth might randomly flip the script to, you know, continue this pity party for Whitley. And be like, well, Whitley didn't want to leave her alone with Jacques. And that would make sense if what I just said wasn't the case, where there was nothing leading up to that at all. It would be a flip of the script, shifting the goalpost in a way, whatever. So that could be a thing. Expect that to happen. But if that doesn't happen, I have absolutely no pity for Whitley. If that does happen, I will probably start to open up to Whitley. But at the same time, I'll be like, man, that's some sloppy writing. Very sloppy writing. Very, very sloppy. Very poorly done. However, I can at least sympathize with Whitley now. So I'm not going to be sitting here saying everything I am now. But as it stands currently, I think Whitley is an evil, manipulative, terrifying little kid to the point where I think Jacques is better off running the SDC than Whitley. I think if Whitley was running the SDC, even down the road where he gets older and more experienced, I think it's terrifying. Jacques, don't get me wrong, bad dude morally. Very bad dude morally. Scummy guy. But at least you know what to expect. The dude likes power, and he likes money. And he's very open about that. He's an open book. With Whitley, it terrifies me because he seems to have this sadistic side. For example, when Weiss was like locked up and miserable to the point where she was breaking down emotionally and crying, what did Whitley do? He smiled. He smiled like a sociopath or something, man. He enjoyed that. He enjoyed watching that. So it seems to me like Whitley is genuinely evil, terrifying, manipulative. But I did mention they might flip this all, so that might turn out to not be the case. But for now, it is the case in my opinion. The Penny and Winter scene was wonderful. Great scene, probably the best scene of the chapter. So this was a great parallel. You have Penny, a parallel / inversion. You have Penny, who is the robot or android, whatever. I don't even remember, man. Like I said time and time again, I really don't. I don't want to go down that road. Just bear with me. Whatever Penny is, all right? Whatever Penny is, she's not human. So it's, you know, they're playing on Penny having the emotional side and being more human when she's not fully human. Winter is fully human, and she's trying to be more robotic, more pure logical. It's very obvious to see what they were doing there, but they did it nice. They pulled it off well. That was a good scene. I'll give RWBY that. That was a great scene. Very, very good scene. Again, probably the best scene in the chapter. And I think that's about it. Just looking at my notes, Mama Schnee puts cams in the house for protection, implying that Jacques is emotionally or even physically doing bad things to her. Terrible, terrible, terrible. She says, good to Weiss not coming back home, implying it's a bad home. So that was sad. You know, the whole scene between Mama Schnee and Weiss was pretty good. But again, it ended off with this. and this is going to come full circle. I'm not going to repeat myself, but just for closure, she said something like, please don't forget about your brother. You left him alone with us, after Weiss retorted. And that's what takes me to my argument about he doesn't have to be there. No, he's not left alone there. He could leave. Weiss chose to leave. Winter chose to leave. If it's that bad, Whitley can leave too. Finally, again, they might flip the script now. We'll see if they do that. Because as it stands now, I'll repeat it one more time, nothing indicates that Whitley cares about his mother, and the reasonable assumption from what we've seen on screen is that he doesn't. Does not. Finally, it looks like Watts can turn off the heat for Mantle/Atlas, and I think that was mentioned in a prior chapter. Now, this is extremely dire, not just because frozen, cold, and all that, and it makes sense. Well, it is for that, but a little bit more detailed. In World of Remnant, from like Volume 2, Volume 1, Volume 3, I don't remember. Way back, one of the World of Remnants for Atlas mentioned how that was pretty much a necessity for life over there. They needed this heating infrastructure, and that is part of why Atlas became technologically advanced, because they had to come up with this stuff. Otherwise, they would get gone. They'd be gone. They wouldn't be able to live there without it. So it forced them to adapt, and that's why they became technologically advanced. At least that's part of what spurred it, a big part, if not the biggest part. So they're playing on that, and that's cool too. It's cool to go back to that. And that's going to be very bad if Watts suddenly turns off all the heat. It's going to be a huge problem, and I guess Watts is a better tech person than everybody in Atlas who made this system. Wonderful. Makes you wonder why Watts is a failed doctor or something. What was it? Like, they literally, I think it was someone on Team Witch literally called him a failed Atlesian doctor or something like that. He seems pretty dang good. Now, they might go the route of, oh, Watts has failed because he was doing controversial stuff, which seems likely, especially when you get into the more medical side of what he may be doing, like what he did for Tyrion. Maybe he did some ethical, not very ethical things, and that's why he got forced out or exiled, whatever it is. Maybe something like that. So that would make sense. But if there's nothing really that case, it makes me wonder why he got let go. I mean, if he's that smart, if he's that good. But we'll see. That's all I got. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's wrap this up. For yesterday's Miku video, I gotta give some shout outs to Nepgear 215, Weeb Trash, Coden X, Phantom Ravenwood, Ishra, Sapphire Knight, Sharon Young, Super Speed 21 YT, The Lancaster Kid, and Tori Goru Padaru. There we go. Thank you all very much for supporting this channel, for supporting this content, and sharing. If you enjoyed this one, please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Consider sharing this, hitting the thumbs up button, all that stuff. And I'm going to get some more coffee. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you next time.